Hello students, I hope all are safe and doing good. Students, we are very much aware about coronavirus pandemic. So stay home, stay safe and stay healthy. Children, let's start with our subject geography. Geography means the study of the physical features of the earth and its atmosphere. Last year in 8th standard we studied about interior of the earth. You can see here picture as well. Earth has different layers. Let's revise it. From top to bottom, the very first layer is crust, continental crust and oceanic crust. The second layer is mantle, upper mantle and lower mantle. And the last one is core, outer core which is in liquid state, and then the inner core which is in a solid state. We live on the topmost layer called crust, that is continental crust. Students, here we experience nature's beauty. Nature is the beautiful creation of the God. Nature is everything which surrounds us like water, air, land, sky, fire, river, forest, animals, birds, sun, moon, rain, thunder, storm, etc. and many more. Students, everybody likes to spend time in nature's beauty. We feel so relaxed and it gives peace to our mind when we are close to nature. Whenever we want a break from our routine life, the very first thing comes in our mind to go either any hill station or to a waterfall, right? Because we feel much better. Our mind and our body gets relaxed. We like to spend time near beaches also. So, all these hills, mountains, beaches, valleys, these all are the effects of the earth's movements. Our earth is more than 4.5 billion years old, since it is continuously rotating and revolving around the sun with other planets. The continuous movement of the earth brings changes like occurrence of day and night and seasons. Also, its effects we can see on earth's crust. So in this lesson and further, we are going to study about it. So let's start our online teaching learning process. Students, here I have shown you the picture of our textbook. Here the picture on the cover page of your textbook is related to our topic or related to our lesson number 2, lesson number 3 and lesson number 4, because it shows the effect of the earth's movement. Like further you are going to study in exogenetic processes about weathering and mass movements, also erosions, and these pictures are all it's related to endogenetic movements and exogenetic movements. So this textbook is related to, it belongs to Maharashtra State Board, Standard 9, subject geography. Area that we are going to learn is about physical geography. Unit is internal movements and topic is endogenetic movements. Endo means internal, that is internal movements of the earth. So let's start our lesson number 2, endogenetic movements. What does it mean? The forces coming from within the earth and causing horizontal and vertical movements are known as endogenetic forces. It is these movements which leads to land upliftment and subsidence, folding and faulting, earthquakes and volcanism, etc. Earth's crust and its surface are constantly evolving. It's changing due to various forces emanating from below, that is endogenic forces, as well as above the surface of the earth, that is exogenic forces. These forces cause physical and chemical changes to the geomorphic structure, that is earth's surface. This is a picture of the earth's crust. Here you can see fold mountains, continental crust, then plates are colliding with each other, and oceans, many things you can see. Study this. Here is geomorphic processes, that is earth's movements. See, these are the geographical terms, that is geomorphic processes, endogenic processes, exogenic processes. These all are the geographical terms. Basically, geomorphic processes is the earth movements. This is divided into two parts, that is endogenic processes and exogenic processes. Endogenic processes is related to the internal movements of the earth, and exogenic processes is related to the external movements of the earth. So here in lesson number 2 we are going to study about endogenic processes, that is internal movements of the earth and also its effects. And in lesson number 3, that is exogenic exogenetic processes part first, we are going to study about weathering and also about the mass movements. Then in exogenetic processes part second, that is in lesson number 4, we are going to study about erosion and deposition. So let's start with the types of endogenetic processes, that is internal movements. Okay, children, lesson number 2, lesson number 3 and lesson number 4, that is endogenetic processes and exogenetic processes. All these chapters are interrelated. They are related to each other. Okay, so because all these are the process of geomorphic process, that is about the earth movements. So let's start here in this chapter about endogenic processes. So it is divided under two categories, two main categories, that is slow movements and sudden movements. Slow movements is also called diastrophism, which it is again divided into vertical and horizontal movements. That is, vertical is also called as epirogenic or continental building, and horizontal is called orogenic or mountain building. Now in horizontal orogenic, that is mountain building movements, there are forces of compression, say example fold mountains, and also forces of tension, that is fault mountains. And under vertical, that is in continental building, again two categories you can see, upward and downward. Now let's come to sudden movements. Sudden movements, everybody knows that the sudden movements, what changes we see in on the earth, that is volcanism and earthquakes. These are the results of the sudden movements, and all these are related to the interior of the earth. Last year we studied about interior of the earth, so it is related to this interior of the earth. So let's study. Here I have shown you lesson number 2, textbook page number 9 and textbook page number 10. If you have the textbook, please read it. Otherwise, you have to download the app which I have shared here in this video in the last. Okay. You have to read these news articles. Here one news is shown in this picture. The question is like, read the following news, observe the photograph and answer the question. You have to read this newspaper snippet, and here you can see some questions. You have to read that article, you have to read the question and try to answer it. You have to read textbook page number 9 and 10, answer the given question and also perform the activity at home which is given on textbook page number 9 and 10. Now let's see what are the internal forces of the earth. Earth movements. The face of the earth is constantly being reshaped by internal forces such as earth movements, volcanoes, earthquakes and landslides, and external forces such as river, rain, water, glacier, wind and sea waves. The powerful internal forces operating from within the crust are called earth movements. The internal forces that shape the earth's surface begin beneath the lithosphere. Now let's say about what is plate movement. Plate movements are spreading or moving apart, subduction or dividing under another plate, then collision or crashing into one another, and sliding past each other in a shearing motion. You can see a plate movement and boundaries picture I have shown here. The first one shows divergent. Divergent magma from the mantle rises as tectonic plates spread apart. The magma cools and forms a new rock. And the second picture shows convergent, that is subduction. As plates push together, one plate is forced under the other in a process called subduction. As the bottom plate starts to melt, magma rises and forms volcanoes at the surface. Here I have shown textbook page number 11 and 12. Read both the pages and perform the activity. Let's see the classification of internal movements. On the basis of classification, we have velocity, direction and landforms. On the basis of movements, we have slow movements, sudden movements. You can read this. Then in direction, about horizontal, upward or downward. Then continental building and mountain building, folding, faulting. You have to read textbook page number 11 and 12 and perform the activity at home. Okay. Now let's start with the subtype. That is, first one is the slow movement, that is called diastrophism. Here you can see the picture. This shows Earth's movements and the effects. You can see effect, the direction of a wave movement when pressure and tension. Effect on the hard rocks, it shows faulting of two types. Then effect on soft rocks, again it shows of the two types. That it is the effects of pressure and tension. The slow movements are the ones that take place on the Earth's crust, which changes it slowly and gradually, thereby taking thousands of years. Slow movements cause changes very gradually, which might not be visible during a human lifetime. Examples are the fold mountains, which occur by folding of layers within the Earth's crust. Horizontal movement, or you can say orogenic or mountain building. An orogeny is an event that leads to a large structural deformation of the Earth's lithosphere, that is crust and uppermost mantle, due to the interaction between plate tectonics. Orogeny is the primary mechanism by which mountains are built on continents. Orogenesis, the process of mountain building, occurs when two tectonic plates collide each other, either forcing material upwards to form mountain belts such as the Alps or Himalayas, or causing one plate to be subducted below the other, resulting in volcanic mountain chains such as the Andes Mountains. Now let's see what is fold mountains. Fold mountains are mountains that form mainly by the effects of folding on layers within the upper part of the Earth's crust. Before either plate tectonic theory developed or the internal architecture of thrust belts became well understood, the term was used for the most mountain belts such as the Himalayas. Fold mountains are formed when two plates move together, a compressional plate margin. This can be where two continental plates move towards each other, or a continental and an oceanic plate. The movement of the two plates forces sedimentary rocks upwards into a series of folds. You can see here a picture and diagram of the fold mountains. This picture shows plate movement. You can see the one plate is subsiding, when it goes down, and the other plate movements, because of these they are colliding each other. The upper result, it shows the fold mountain. Sediment and some magma is forced upwards, so it becomes mountain. Then second picture, here you can see the process. Now in the third picture you can see the types of fold, how the folds takes place. Here this is a diagram. We'll see the another slide. These are the types of fold. Okay, first one shows open, that is symmetrical fold. Second one as shows asymmetrical fold. C shows overturned. D shows recumbent, and E shows isosceles. These are the types of fold. Here you can see picture of folding. In the diagram you can see sediment layers, and when the compression takes place from both the sides, you can see the types of fold, and these folds become the mountains. Here I have shown some picture of fold mountains. See this picture, this is a type of a fold mountain, this too, even this and this also. Here you can see page number 13 of your textbook. You have to read the textbook and perform the activity at home, which is given on textbook page number 13. To understand the effects of tension, that is block mountain, and about the Rift Valley, means about the fault. The picture you can see here in figure 2.9a and 2.10a. Okay, when you will perform this activity, you will understand how the faulting process takes place. Let's say about block mountains. Block mountain is defined as the result of faulting caused by tensile and compressive forces motored by endogenetic forces coming from within the earth, also known as fault block mountains. Block mountains represent the upstanding parts of the ground between two faults or on either side of a rift valley or a graben. Block mountains are formed when two tectonic plates move away from each other, causing cracks on the surface of the earth. When parallel cracks or faults occur, the strip of land or the block of land between them may be raised, resulting in the formation of a block mountain. The upward block is called a horst. Example, Black Forest and the Vosges of Rhineland. Block mountains are also formed when the crust of the earth sinks on both the sides of two parallel faults. Therefore, a block mountain can be found between two rift valleys. The land which sinks is known as graben. Example, East African Rift Valley. You can see here picture and diagram as well of the block mountains. The first one shows about the fault block mountain. You can see the pressure and tension. Okay. So the second one, it shows very clearly what is horst and what is graben. And down you see there is a normal fault and the arrow shows the pressure or tension. The third one, see, it shows the diagram of fault line, compression, compressional forces, and what happens. Okay, the result. Three main types of fault motion is shown. You can pause the video and can study the diagram well. These are the picture of block mountains. The first two pictures shows fault block mountains. You can see here faults. The down two shows Rift Valley. These two pictures are of Rift Valley. Now come to the next subtype, that is vertical movements. Till now we studied about horizontal movements. Now we are going to study about vertical movement, that is epirogenic or continental building. In geology, epirogenic movement, that is from it has taken from Greek word, that is from Greek epiros means land and genesis means birth, is upheavals of depressions of land exhibiting long wavelengths and little folding apart from broad undulations. The broad central parts of continents are called cratons and are subject to epirogeny. Epirogenic movement can be permanent or transient. Transient uplift can occur over a thermal anomaly due to convecting anonymously hot mantle and disappears when convection wanes. And permanent uplift can occur when igneous material is injected into the crust, and circular or elliptical structural uplift, that is without folding, over a large radius, say you can say tens to thousands of kilometers, is one characteristic of the mantle plume. Here I have shared textbook page number 14 about the continental building epirogenic movements. You can see here the diagram. This is a picture of continental building. Here you can see picture of diagram of continental convergence. See, the first picture shows about in the very down, the last layer is about asthenosphere, that is ancient oceanic crust. Above that you can see lithosphere, and at the topmost you can see continental crust, and on that you can see mountain ranges and high plateaus. These are the continental convergence. And what about the oceanic convergence? You can see a picture, asthenosphere, lithosphere, and above we have oceanic crust. You can see trenches also, and about the island arc you can see volcanic eruption also. Okay, see the diagram and study. Again here you can see textbook page number 14 and 15. Read the textbook and perform the activity. Now here comes our second subtypes of endogenetic movements, that is second type of the endogenetic movement, that is sudden movements. Okay, till now we studied about slow movements. Now we are going to study about sudden movements. The sudden movements are the ones that occur all of a sudden and causes mass destruction and abrupt changes in the earth's crust. The natural disasters are caused by sudden movements. Examples are earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. What is earthquake? An earthquake, also known as a quake, tremor or trembler, is a shaking of the surface of the earth resulting from a sudden release of energy in the earth's lithosphere that creates seismic waves. And the second one is volcano. A volcano is an opening in the earth's crust through which lava, volcanic ash and gases escape. Beneath a volcano, liquid magma containing dissolved gases rises through cracks in the earth's crust. As the magma rises, pressure decreases, allowing the gases to form bubbles. Let's study about earthquakes. An earthquake is a sudden movement of the earth's tectonic plates resulting in shaking of the ground. Earthquakes are measured using observation from seismographs. The magnitude of an earthquake and the intensity of shaking is usually reported on the Richter scale. The main causes of earthquakes fall into 5 categories. First is volcanic eruptions. This is the main cause of the earthquake. Tectonic movements. The surface of the earth consists of some plates comprising of the upper mantle. Third, geological faults. Fourth, man-made. Fifth, minor causes. Earthquakes. Let's study about focus and epicenter. You can see in diagram, focus, then faults, then the epicenter. In the second diagram also you can see clearly. Focus is also called as hypocenter. Okay. You can see about seismic waves. We are going to study about seismic waves also. What is seismic waves? You can see fault, epicenter and fault scrap. What is it? What is focus? The focus of an earthquake is the point where the rocks start to fracture. It is the origin of the earthquake. The focus is the point within the earth where seismic waves originate. It is centered on the part of the fault that has the greatest movement. And what is epicenter? Epicenter is the point on land directly above the focus where we can experience earthquake. Now let's see about what is seismic waves. Earthquake, seismic waves. You can see here diagram. Let's study what are this, what all this we can see as P wave, S wave. Okay, what is it? Seismic waves are the waves of energy caused by the sudden breaking of rock within the earth or an explosion. They are the energy that travels through the earth and is recorded on seismographs. Earthquakes produce 3 types of seismic waves. They are primary waves, secondary waves and surface waves. Each type moves through materials differently. In addition, the waves can reflect or bounce off boundaries between different layers. we studied about the different layers of the earth. So here, types of seismic waves. Primary as P waves, secondary as S waves, and surface as L waves. The three types of seismic waves. This arrow shows the direction of earthquake. See, in the first diagram you can see P wave, S wave, second diagram, and the third diagram you can see surface waves. Let's study what is types of seismic waves. What is primary or P waves? Primary waves are alternatingly compressional and extensional and cause the rocks they pass through to change in volume. These waves are the fastest traveling seismic waves and can travel through solid, liquid and gases. Secondary waves. The definition of an S wave or secondary wave is a wave motion in a solid medium where the medium moves perpendicular to the direction of the travel of the wave. An example of an S wave is when pieces of rock in an earthquake vibrate at right angles to the direction of the seismic waves. Surface waves, that is L waves. A seismic wave that travels across the surface of the earth as opposed to through it. Surface waves usually have larger amplitudes and longer wavelengths than the body waves, and they travel more slowly than body waves do. Love waves and Rayleigh waves are the kinds of surface waves. Again, surface waves have two types, that is love waves and Rayleigh waves. Here you can see a picture of seismograph or seismometer. You can see the diagram. It has got wire, vibration. You can see the paper is rolled. Then the base. You can see a frame, weight and rotating drum. A seismograph or seismometer is an instrument used to detect and record earthquakes. Generally, it consists of a mass attached to a fixed base. During an earthquake, the base moves and the mass does not. The motion of the base with respect to the mass is commonly transformed into an electrical voltage. Let's see what is seismogram. Here you can see picture of seismogram. These are the result of the earthquake. In the picture you can very clearly see that the timing is shown, magnitude is shown, then a P wave arrived first, S wave. You can see here in the picture. A seismogram is a graph output by a seismograph. It is a record of the ground motion at a measuring station as a function of time. A seismogram is a record written by a seismograph in response to ground motions produced by an earthquake or explosion or other ground motion sources. Seismograms typically record motions in three Cartesian axes, that is x, y and z. In graph also we studied about x-axis, y-axis, and we have only studied about x and y-axis, x-axis and y-axis. Here it shows about z-axis also, with the z-axis perpendicular to the earth's surface and the x and y axes parallel to the surface. Here you can see textbook page number 16. You have to read the textbook and perform the activity at home. Okay. Read both the pages 15 and 16. Here you can see textbook page number 17 and 19. Let's study about volcanoes. You can see a picture of volcano. A volcano is a rupture in the crust or of a planetary mass object such as Earth that allows hot lava, volcanic ash and gases to escape from a magma chamber below the surface. Volcanoes can change the weather. They can cause rain, thunder and lightning. They can also have long-term effects on the climate. There are two predominant types of volcanic eruptions. Okay. Effusive eruption, that is magma rises through the surface and flows out of the volcano as a viscous liquid called lava. And second one is explosive eruptions, that is magma is torn apart as it rises and reaches the surface in pieces known as pyroclasts. Central type or conical volcano. Central volcanoes are the simplest kind of a volcano. A long pipe reaches up from the magma chamber deep below the surface. Instead, it flows from the volcano vent and is called lava. Together, ash and lava make the volcano cone higher. A volcanic cone is a triangle-shaped hill formed as material from volcanic eruption piles up around the volcanic vent or opening in Earth's crust. Most volcanic cones have one volcanic crater or central depression at the top. They are probably the most familiar type of volcanic mountain. There are 3 basic cone shapes and 6 eruption types. Okay, so 3 basic cone shapes and 6 eruption types. The 3 cone shapes are cinder cones, shield cones and composite cones, or you can say stratovolcanoes. And the 6 eruption types are, in order from least explosive to the most explosive, I'll say. The very first least one I'll say as Icelandic, then Hawaiian, then Strombolian, Vulcanian, Pelian and Plinian. Now fissure type volcanoes. A fissure vent, also known as volcanic fissure, eruption fissure or simply a fissure. It is a linear volcanic vent through which lava erupts, usually without any explosive activity. The vent is often a few meters wide and may be many kilometers long. As fluid, that is gas poor basaltic magma, rises up through a fissure, it is extruded at the surface as well as incandescent liquid to plastic fragments known as a curtain of fire. Fissure eruptions occur when magma flows up through cracks in the ground and leaks out onto the surface. These often occur where plate movement has caused large fractures in the Earth's crust and may also spring up around the base of the volcano with a central vent. You can see here a picture of central type or conical volcanoes. These both pictures are of a central type or conical volcanoes. Okay, and down you can see fissure type volcanoes. This picture and this picture. These are the types of the fissure volcano. Now types of volcanoes. If you see this diagram, there are 4 types: cinder cone volcanoes, composite volcanoes, shield volcanoes and lava domes. Students, this means types of volcanoes you don't have in your syllabus, that is in the lesson. I have just added for the extra information, for the extra knowledge. Geologists generally group into volcanoes into 4 main kinds. First one is cinder cone or cone volcanoes. Second is composite volcanoes. Third is shield volcanoes and fourth is lava domes. Let's study about cinder cone volcanoes. This is a picture of cinder cone volcanoes. Cinder cones are the simplest type of volcano. They are built from particles and blobs of congealed lava ejected from a single vent. As the gas charged lava is blown violently into the air, it breaks into small fragments that solidify and fall as cinders around the vent to form a circular or oval cone. What is cinder? You can see here picture. These are the cinders. A cinder is a proclastic material. Cinder are extrusive igneous rock. They are fragments of solidified lava. Means when lava comes out from the volcano, when it cools down and solidifies, it becomes cinders. Okay, it can be igneous rocks. Cinders are typically brown, black or red depending on the chemical composition and weathering. Cinders are similar to pumic. Next is composite volcanoes. You can see here a structure of composite volcano. Composite volcanoes, also called stratovolcanoes, they are cone-shaped volcanoes built from many layers of lava, pumic, ash and tephra. Because they are built of layers of viscous material rather than fluid lava, composite volcanoes tend to form tall peaks rather than rounded cones. The third type is here shield volcanoes. You can see a diagram. Shield volcanoes are formed by lava flows of low viscosity. lava that flows easily. Consequently, a volcanic mountain having a broad profile is built up over time by flow after flow of relatively fluid basaltic lava issuing from vents or fissures on the surface of the volcano. The last one is lava domes. Here you can see a diagram of lava dome. In volcanology, a lava dome is a circular mound-shaped protrusion resulting from the slow extrusion of viscous lava from a volcano. Dome building eruptions are common, particularly in convergent plate boundary settings. Around 6% of eruption on Earth are lava dome forming. See here, the first picture shows about the cinder cone volcanoes. I have shown here all the four types so that you can easily recognize and you can understand the difference of different types of volcanoes. So the first one shows cinder cone volcanoes, second shows composite volcanoes, third shows shield volcanoes, and the fourth one shows lava domes volcanoes. Students, you can see this picture, means this map in your textbook as well. Okay, this is a figure 2.18, world earthquakes and volcanoes. You have to read this figure 2.18 and you have to answer the questions which is given on your textbook page number 17. Okay, read the question, find the answer from this map. Here I have shown textbook page number 20, exercise question. You have to read the lesson and solve these exercise questions in notebook. Find the answer and write it in a notebook. This is a map. If you have at home, it's well and good. If you have textbook, then too it's well and good. Try to solve question number 8 over here. You have to, I'll show you. See the last question, question number 8. Show the following on a given outline map of the world, that is Mount Kilimanjaro, Mid-Atlantic Earthquake Zone, Mount Fuji, Krakatoa, then Mount Vesuvius. All these you have to search from internet and you have to fill this map with pencil. Always do diagram and map work with pencil, not with pen. Here you have to do one activity. As you are at home, you have lots of time, and I know you people are spending much time on internet. So you have to do this activity. Okay. Here I have shown you page number textbook page number 22. You can see here one table. Okay. The first activity is you have to make a model showing the central and fissure type volcanoes. If you can, if the material is available at home, then you can make it. Okay, it's optional. But the second one you have to do, you have to gather the information through internet about earthquakes which have occurred in India in the past 10 years on the basis of the points given in this table. If you go on internet, if you will type earthquakes in India, so you will get a table. You have to note down about the date, time, then magnitude. The earthquake also on the internet, it shows about the magnitude, it shows epicenter, it also shows depth. Okay, but you have to write in kilometers. Okay, and what all areas were affected because of that earthquake, that also you have to note down, and what loss or damage was caused, that also you have to here note down. This activity is compulsory for you to do at home. Okay, first one is optional, second is compulsory. Here I have shared some references. You have to download Diksha mobile app from Google Play Store and you can watch lessons video online. Here is Diksha app's logo. You can also download State Board textbook or eBhalbharti from Google Play Store and you can read the lesson if you don't have textbook. Okay, if you have textbook, then no need to download. Thank you so much, students. Now we will meet in the next lesson, lesson number 3.